Hey, you are along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole, the Encyclopedia of Electronics, Farrell.
Motorcycles and mud, always a messy mix.
Stay tuned. Rendawg, multi-time X Games gold medalist and extreme athlete, Ronnie Renner.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
Man, thank you so much. Those inspiring words. I'm sure they're inspiring to our upcoming guest, Ronnie Renner, of the Great Evil Knievel, flying through the air, living in the sunlight, enjoying life.
Yes, of course. And of course, we have to thank our first responders, the brave men and women of the armed forces, our POWs, our MIAs. Could not do this podcast without their sacrifice.
Yep, absolutely. We're so grateful. God bless America. God bless our troops. God bless our first responders. And man, speaking of being blessed, we are so blessed to have such great partners on this show. Partners like Kicker Performance Audio. All your 12 volt or personal audio needs, you can find them online, kicker.com. Find them on Instagram at Kicker Audio. Man, check them out. Tell them Mad Dog sent you. Of course, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Eyewear, and Bomber Safety Eyewear. In this case, I prefer to wear all three at once, all incorporated into the magnificent white frame Boogie Bomb. And yes, you guessed it, Z87, ANSI approved, OSHA approved safety lens that is polarized, dark smoke, and they float. Man, they've got so many styles. Tommy and the gang has just knocked it out of the park. Check them out, bombereyewear.com or on Instagram at bombereyewear. That's Bomber Eyewear. Of course, our man Cole at the Premix Podcast. Find him on Instagram at symbol ThePremixPodcast, sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera. Hit him up. He'll be at one of your races. Have him get some shots of you. Also, available now to book for your MC needs. Of course, Kelsey Morel Film. Find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morel Film. Getting all of our Along for the Rides up on YouTube and now YouTube podcast. Kelsey Morel Film on Instagram at Kelsey Morel Film. And you may have noticed we now have an Instagram page. We have some new graphics. We have an Along for the Ride specific Mad Dog logo. And those are all compliments of the very talented Hey Keeks. Look her up on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing or hit our website, heykeeks.com. You got a social media website or other problem you need a solution with, give her a shout at Hey Keeks. Tonight's guest of honor, FMX star, all around crazy man, Ronnie Renner. Man, coming from an unbelievable Loretta's, Ronnie Renner. What's up, brother?
What up? What up?
Dude, tell us about it. I mean, you are a veteran of Loretta's, right?
I mean, it's kind of looking that way. I've been there since 1986 was the first time on P-Dubs.
Wow.
Landed on my head quite a few times, and I really went there thinking I was going to win. Our memories get a little fuzzy with all the concussions I've had anyways, but I remembered. It's fairly vivid, honestly. When you pull into that parking lot, it's amazing the things that come into your mind and your soul there. But it's like a weird deja vu. But I never raced after that Loretta's. Things kind of hit the fan with my parents, and I went from being like 9 years old till 16 until I raced again. So I missed some pretty clutch years there on a bike.
Wow. Yeah.
Was fairly hungry when I got back after it, and I think in 1994 I was 16 years old. I went in the 125C class. Was a favorite to win. I won my area qualifier, regional qualifier, and then 2 weeks before Loretta's broke my arm, a hairline fracture. Rode with a bowling cast. Didn't do so well in the rough stuff there. Went back in 95 in the B class, 96 in the B class. I can't remember. It's a little fuzzy after that because I turned pro in 97, and I think I might have ditched Loretta's a couple of years, but I know the last time I raced there was in 2000. I rode the pro sport class. I think I was always like a top 10 guy, but never setting the world on fire, and definitely never won a moto. Probably only chances I really had were 86 on a P dub and then 94 in the C class. And yeah, the rest of the time I went there chasing girls more than trophies.
Yeah. And so this year you guys won. You got it was wet.
Yeah, I prefer to call it moist. I'll give you a little more backstory to it, honestly. And
All right.
It's wild because it is a testament to being prepared. I was supposed to go in 01 for plus 40, and I got the Rona, the Delta variant, whatever that nasty one was. And, the hard-headed hillbilly I am, I'm out here trying to load my stuff with a Dayquil running through my veins 2 or 3 days. And it finally just like grabbed me and freaking suplexed me in the yard. Like, no, you got the Rona. Like the Dayquil's not going to work with this. So I actually pumped the brakes, couldn't go. I was like on my deathbed for like 3 weeks. It felt like, I think because I pushed so far, had to watch it on my cell phone. Next year, 22, I was ready to rock. Plus 45 this time. My attitude is when they got these age classes, get it while you're fresh 45. Right. I'm ready to go attack these old bastards. And, Mother Nature had its way with me again. I got a thing called diverticulitis, which is this wild stomach thing that's kind of becoming a epidemic in America with our Western diet. And it got a hold of me. I was actually training all summer, busting my ass, probably trained harder than I did back when I was a kid, honestly. Ready to rock, getting all these stomach cramps. I'm like, after Loretta's, I'm going to deal with that. And that didn't happen because about same thing. I'm out here trying to load up and I'm getting 102 fever and all this wild stuff. The week of, it's end of July, Florida hot, and it body slammed me. I took myself to the hospital the Friday you're supposed to be pulling into Loretta's, and they're like, yeah, you're got a major abscess on your large intestine and you're staying here for a while. So I watched Loretta's from my cell phone in the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I got that all fixed up. It was like a 5-6 month process. Literally had my guts cut in half. Had to run a duty bag. The full Monty, baby. It was the real deal. You don't really talk about those highlights on Instagram, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have time on the podium to even say all this stuff, right? You don't.
Yeah. No. And people, ultimately don't want to hear it. I guess that's why we have podcasts now, so we can talk about all the nitty gritty. We can talk about poop bags.
Yeah.
Say words like ass, balls.
Dude, we are not PG-13 and we are not structured. We've taken a page from your loose program book and just letting things happen. That's
why I knew I was not hesitating to do this. The only thing holding us back was just timing. So
yep.
I knew we'd have a good time with it, and I could be that's the main thing I always want to do is keep it real. And there's lessons to be learned. I want to inspire people. So in the process of having my guts cut in half and having to run a shit bag out of my stomach, I met people that I would have never known that had that. So life goes on, like my girlfriend, who's freaking amazing trooper. She's like, quit freaking being self-conscious about it or paranoid about it. She's like, it freaking kept you alive, so
yeah,
modern science and technology and all that good stuff came into play. And I want to give all those people praise and props, the I'm supposed to go to the hospital for crashing my dirt bike or side by side. It was a real reality check sitting there. What I felt like was on my deathbed at times. I went septic one time in the hospital, which looking back, I probably could have died. It's the closest I've ever felt to dying, actually. Like my temperature spiked. I had 7 blankets on me, was shivering, like freakiest thing ever. Found out I kind of went septic. So wild stuff. Gives you a new perspective on life. And anyways, January got patched back together. Inked the deal with CF Moto, which was like, in retrospect, freaking awesome because I really didn't know what I was going to do this year. I mean, I'll always figure something out. I have a fleet of freaking side-by-sides in my garage, dirt bikes, and a lot of tools. It's hard to do it without the sponsors behind you. But if I need to make an off-road experience, I got business ideas that I will apply if I need to. But man, I still feel like I personally have something to offer as far as I'm in good shape, besides my guts being cut in half. Feel good on the motorcycle. My driving skills get better and better behind side-by-sides. And like with whatever happened with coronavirus, man, it like started squashing sponsorship.
Yes.
And I'm not a spring chicken, so you have to, face the elephant in the room of aging out of a sport. But I can still get after it if I want to. And that's not cocky. That's just a matter of feeling good and feeling sharp. But I'm not going to do it for free or, risk to reward ratios there. So anyways, back to the story. CF came on board, did some really rad like intro projects with them with their 23 line. I don't want to say too much. There's NDA stuff signed with all these things. But I was really impressed with the company. Really liked the direction. I liked the fact that they knew that I was fighting some illnesses and they still took a chance to like sign me onto their program. So I came into this new year swinging and, I'd be lying if I said this Loretta's thing wasn't something that was dead target for me to handle. Even though the clout of plus 45 Loretta's is not like X Games or something like that, like it was a personal conquest, a personal goal. I put so much work the years before into it. So yeah, I just kind of put this whole year, obviously I got other responsibilities, but back to training, got my insides dialed back to normal and nice and fit for the race. And it went really smooth going into it.
Yeah. Well, and the results, right? So, I mean, proof's in the pudding, and I wouldn't take anything away from the 45 plus class because it's still freaking Loretta's.
Yeah. I discount it. Your ego gets involved with all these damn things, and motocross is the pinnacle of that. I don't think I've ever been a crazy ego guy. I'm just trying to have a good time and work hard and be an example. But at the same time, you want to be the guy. You don't become one of the guys or the man if you don't have an ego attached to it, because you just will pump the brake too many times. But I've definitely, I don't know, grown out of all of that stuff, but still like to get rowdy for personal satisfaction. Showing up to Loretta's, you get older, you get wiser, you learn, as much as I hate to admit it, how important preparation is. And, there's that old saying, when hard work meets talent, you're effed or whatever. And then there's the one that says, if hard work meets talent, but if talent works hard, you're, it's another level. And I know I'm somewhat talented at the stuff. So I just put both of those together. And that was my attitude coming into it. Like, somebody better pack a lunch. But when you get there and the lap times are not like Mike Brown lap times or Jeff Emig lap times, but I'm still like pulling away from the class. It's like this ego, the freestyle guy in me wants to freaking drop the hammer and put in a heater, which a heater can put you in the hospital.
Right. Yeah.
Tires. So you have to check yourself a lot. I mean, and when you're out front, I pulled all 3 hole shots. There's a lot to think about out there. So it was really a battle with myself at that point.
Well, not to take anything away, like, no, maybe I'll even stroke your ego a little bit more, just because like I'm such a moto nerd about it. But
Thank you.
But the the plus 45 class is so cool to me because like as a 16-year-old, somebody's driving you there, somebody's setting up camp, somebody's got a trailer for you if you have the help. Somebody's probably paying your entry fee. Like 45, you're like, dude, I got here myself. I figured out the hotels. I drove here. I had to figure out my own training program. Like this is all on my shoulder. And I think adults appreciate it more than the kids do. But I mean, like plus 45 class is no joke because none of those guys want to get hurt. And just like you, everybody's been in the hospital 10 times. So to send it in the plus 45 class, I think takes quite a bit of balls.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, and there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, there's a lot of backstories behind the scenes. We could ramble all night and I could share my experience, but like I drove up, I don't know what it is about packing for a 10-day trip. And as many times as I've packed for the desert, there's a reason my buddies called me the loose program. And it all stems back to my desert days and free ride tours. And, it's my free ride tour and I show up at 3 a.m. because like I'm there packing everything myself. So you'd think I'm used to it enough that I would have a good template, but it's when you're into as many sports as I am and like sponsors to represent and like, what do they say? There's a million ways to skin a cat. That's an old redneck saying. I don't know if that's really used on the West Coast, but
yeah, it is.
But I've never personally skinned a cat. Just put that on the record. But no, like you start thinking, and I'm fortunate. I'm through my career. I'm a bit of a toy hoarder. I've got a freaking motorhome. I got this travel trailer. I got a truck bed camper. My ambulance just got rewrapped and redone. But Loretta Lynn's is hot as balls, so that thing was out because it don't have an AC. Motorhome is a crapshoot that it might not make it to Loretta's. So like, all right, my no boundaries. It's a sponsored like camper thing, best fit. Me and my lady up there. That I want to bring a race bike. I want to bring a backup bike since I have one for parts. Need a pit vehicle. So next thing you know, my 1-ton Dodge has just got stuff oozing out of it. Camper way overloaded, over capacity. Shitter's full. You know the deal. So
Yeah.
by the time I leave, I'm like a day behind schedule. It's like Friday, and I'm with my history that I just shared with you guys with health. I'm just waiting for freaking like to have a heart attack or something in the yard or something at that point.
Right.
Law can kick in anytime. So I get out of here day behind. It's like Friday. Wanted to get there for sure by Saturday. So I'm like, I better drive halfway through the night. I make it. And if you're from Florida or the Southeast, the number one rule is you don't go through Atlanta on rush hour.
Right.
So navigated around that. Stopped at that damn stinking Beaver Bucky's, hoping I could like get a little snooze in and wake up to one of their bomb little breakfast brisket tacos because that's good training food for Loretta's.
Oh, for sure.
Just as I close my eyes, security knocks on the door. Oh, you can't camp here. So back on the freaking road up to Tennessee, get to a rest area that didn't have trucks hanging out into the interstate.
Oh.
Got like 3 hours of sleep. Back on the road to Loretta's. I get there, and I think the heat index was like 120. Like it was hot as shit. And I just get there, have to like navigate my stuff. Like if you've been to Loretta's or know the deal, it is a packed campground. They keep doing more and more overflow parking. Somebody has saved me a spot, and I like whatever the case, because I have this pickup truck with the travel trailer. I got to disconnect, weasel the thing around to get the bikes out. I am like literally dripped 100% in sweat. This is off of 3 hours of sleep. Practices in a day and a half. Getting old. Body don't recoup the same as it used to. Probably didn't stop. I didn't stop at no Trader Joe's or nothing fancy to get food. So Piggly Wiggly or something, whatever I grabbed there, I'm eating. So I wake up the next day. I had cramps that night because I sweat so much unloading and setting up my freaking campsite.
Wow.
So there was my workout, and then my chick showed up, and that didn't help my cramps any, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Come practice day, I'm already feeling like I've been beat up and ran like 3 30-minute motos. It's funny. And it was the freaking roughest track I've ever seen. Because my practice wasn't until like I was race number 24 or something like that. So 24 15-minute practices have been out there, and they barely touched the track.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I just feel annihilated by like Monday, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, this is gonna be a long week, But my race wasn't until first moto wasn't until Wednesday, so just enough recoup time. That I guess that's what it is for plus 40, 45 guy now. You need like 4 days of recovery after a strenuous day. Sorry, I'm long-winded with it. Crazy
No,
story.
keep
No, no,
going.
no. This is like
On the career.
this. Like I said, I'm moto nerding. I'm like, yeah, like tell me about Buc-ee's, tell me about the parking.
This is the inside stuff that, like you said, people don't see on Instagram, and like this is the raw shit, right? This is it. This
Well,
is what it's about.
besides podcasts here, the new thing is YouTubes and vlogs or blog, whatever the hell they're calling them now, with like these people that have channels and you're telling the stories. Deegan does it, and Chad Reed's got one now, and unfortunately I feel it's pretty oversaturated, and it's like I'm not going to sit there with my camera. It's hard enough to do everything I just did without, I might get an Instagram story joke out of it or this or
Right.
that. Because if you want to be your best at a sport, you sure as hell ain't going to do it with your freaking phone in your hand all the time. That's the reality of racing a dirt bike or driving a
Yep.
side by side. Like, we'll just call it off road. I don't know. I have to say side by side now because I said razor forever.
Oops.
Right.
And I'm a CS moto guy. So, yeah, the side by side thing's kind of still wild for me to say, but we'll call it off road. So I love all of it,
Yeah.
It's hard to do all of it when you're trying to document all of it.
Yeah.
So I either need to hire a content producer. I would love to share these stories, but it's my biggest fear that it's not authentic at that point. You're producing things, staging things, like reenacting things. You see it all the time. Like I can see through the bullshit of these shows, but I guess the average humanoids can't. It's
Right.
kind of sad and pathetic, some of the things people fall for on TV.
Right.
I'll call it out, whatever.
Well, that's one of the reasons, one of the real reasons that we did this. Like, it's called Along for the Ride because that's what it's about, is being, along for the ride, whether it be my road trips where, people see, oh, I'm driving. Oh, there's a pretty sunset. Oh, there's a hotel room. Oh, there's, whatever. And then on the podcast, it's like, yeah, and I spent, 7 hours sitting on the side of the road trying to figure out how I was going to fix a bearing that was, had eaten halfway through a spindle and, all that stuff. So that's what it's about, man. The grit and the dig, like behind the scenes, the story behind the story is one of the main reasons that we even did this. And it's to be like just 100% organic and authentic, right?
Sure.
I mean, we do cut a little bit when we have to for time frame, and sometimes I cuss a bit too much, and Cole has to cut that. But no, okay. So sorry, I digress. So it's almost race day. I got you off track. My bad.
No. It's really all goes hand in hand. Cole was saying it's kind of about the journey, and I am, even though I'm still sponsored, and I would say I run on that gray area of it not being fair, which I'm tired of that word in society anyways. You freaking make your own path, you know what I mean? I was reading some of Jeff Emmig's comments, people giving him a hard time for racing that when he's a national champion, and it's not everybody, but it's just effing keyboard warriors are out of control these days. And
Yep.
it seems like it's, one of the comments I'm not the one making this up, but it's something that really hit me hard. It's like, usually it's the people that aren't happy with their own life that give people shit on the internet and want to make a big deal out of things. And I had to think about it because, I've heard the word sandbagger or this or that. And I'm like, here's the deal. We love racing motorcycles. Of all this stuff that I do, motorcycles are the pinnacle. I've yet to find anything more exhilarating than what a dirt bike can do. I mean, I've never drove a fighter jet or anything like that. I'm sure there's some badass stuff out there that possibly could trump a dirt bike. I'm not claiming it. For me, that's it. You know what I mean? Everything is compared to moto. If I'm freaking driving my side by side, I'm freaking saying brop. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm on my mountain bike, I'm out there, brop. You go ahead and line up on a 40 rider gate on a dirt bike, no roll cage, no seat belt, more horsepower than you can handle under your legs, and try to get the whole shot and throw that bitch in there with 40 riders. Get a bad jump and be wedged in the middle of everybody. Like, go for 15 minutes plus 2 laps, 20 minutes plus 2 laps, and tell me how many stories come out of that. Like, nothing compares. Now, when I raced some short course in that SR1 back in the day, that was pretty friggin' rowdy. That friggin' got my adrenaline spiked up there pretty well. Still not moto.
Yeah.
I don't know. Might have some arguments. Never drove a trophy truck through the desert at 100. Probably badass. But pound for pound, we'll call it pound for pound. That's like the big phrase these days, right? Pound for pound, baddest machine you can buy is a dirt bike. You can go up the mountain, you can go down the mountain, you can go over the mountain. You can ride them on water, as MAddOG'S showed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can fly them through the air, like MAddOG'S showed, and I've shown.
Yeah.
You can ride them in the freaking snow with the timber sled kit. Like, motorcycles are badass machines, all right. But racing them, that's where it all stems. That's all of our roots in this generation. Roger DeCoster, Bob Hanna, who's my personal favorite of all time. I don't know. You get a little time to reflect and ask yourself why you do these things and what really puts the lead in your pencil. And it's dirt bike racing. So, that's why I show up to Loretta Lynn's, and to see people give like MAddOG'S a hard time. I get it. The dude loves riding. What's he supposed to do? Freaking sit on the couch or sit in Havasu and live off his last victory party from Supercross? No way.
Yeah.
There's a comment in there. Sammy Sosa still plays softball leagues, because what does Sammy Sosa do after a baseball career when he loves playing baseball? Good for him to go out there and play what he is qualified legally. Same for Loretta Lynn's. Like, the plus 40 class is plus 40 class is non-sportsman. Plus 45 is sportsman. Every couple of years it goes back and forth. And I never scored a national point when I raced motocross and supercross. The best I ever got was 21st place. You get a point for 20th. And that's what the rule book states in sportsman, is you can never have had a national point. So if I don't show up, like, I'm the most qualified guy you can be there. In my mind, yes, I should be up front winning that class. There's no way around it. But should I not show up because I'm so close to the borderline there? Hell no. Somebody's going to show up fast, and somebody's going to show up and win it. And the people that are bitching about it, they should just be happy that they qualified and think about the whole scenario, that there's an area qualifier, there's a regional qualifier. You're not just entitled and gifted a spot to Loretta's because you never made it there. The same rules apply to the 50cc riders as the plus 50 guys.
Right.
Like, earn your way there. You might have to, I don't know. And if that's not good, go to the Vet National at Glen Helen. Maybe they got a class for you there. I don't know.
It's like, I've never even raced Loretta's, and you really stuck a nerve with me on that. Like, and to be fair, I'm on your team, because it's like, sorry, but Jeff Immig was one of my heroes growing up. I had him little toy and all this stuff. But it's like, okay, do you expect him to line up to a national now with the Lawrences, or do you expect him to roll over and die? Well, you want him still riding, so why not go to Loretta's, which is the highest caliber of non-professionalism, right?
Yeah.
And the people that want to bitch and moan about the age thing, it's like, I get it, but also, sorry, if you're in the plus 40 class, the window for the dream is closed, right? So
there you go. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So are you taking food out of somebody's mouth by Mike Brown getting a 50 plus class? Like, absolutely not. So why are we having this conversation? Like you said, you have to qualify. You don't just roll up, and the Coombs don't park you out front because you're a national champion. Like, no, you still got to earn it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, they're the age-old saying, it is what it is. Like you said, that's a perfect way to put it, though. The window closes, and they're already fighting to get all those races in there, and they try to have a well-rounded field, and it is amateur racing, so it's predominantly the youth. So as it gets to the older groups, you can look at the schedule and see that it kind of fans out to less and less age classes. Can't be there for freaking 4 weeks doing a national,
Right.
So yeah, it is what it is. Like, that's the rules. You show up, there's contingency up for grabs. I think I got like $3,000 in KTM contingency to win that. So
Sweet.
that goes
Nice.
towards the new machine. You know what I mean? Like, um, I I don't know. I'm not getting a lot of flack for it. I have heard the comments like sandbagger, this and that. Well, I sure as hell don't want to show up and race Mike Brown and Jeff Emig if I don't have to. I'm not
Right.
going. I'm not going and putting all that effort just to say that I made it there. And it, where my personal experience in life has been, I'm going there to win.
Yeah.
No,
Well, and to
I've
be
been
fair,
there.
you said you're ready for the plus 50 class in a few years. You're not scared.
Yeah, so you
I
saw
heard you
that.
say
Yeah,
it.
I did set myself up on the podium. Like, yeah, probably not coming back for a few years. Uh, which that's all. If it was up to me, I'd probably be there every year because that was a blast. I love challenging myself. I like the effort that you put into it. It gives you a reason for being. It gives you just a good reason to wake up in the morning and stay away from the garbage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um, but my kids have made a little bit of a sacrifice being that summer break, and they can probably they can find better things to do than follow me to the practice track 3 days a week while I do 20-minute motos and 100 degrees outside. They make the most of it. I raised a couple little troopers, but it is time to do like the Griswold family vacation and get like a station wagon and dead grandma on top or something. I can only say that because both my grandmas have died. So
um, the I wanted to touch on something you just said though, because people are, anybody who's calling you a sandbagger or whatever, you got the hole shot, which means you were quicker than anybody else out of the hole. You
that's what
were
my
on
girlfriend
your
says.
game. You were on your game better than them, right? Um, and then I know for a fact at one point, because I was getting text updates of your progress because I was not able to watch it, but someone was working their real job while watching it. And so I think at one point it was what was it called, 9
Well,
at
the,
one
the
race?
particular example, yeah, you had a
Yeah.
9 second lead, which didn't even end up being your biggest lead throughout the week. But yeah, at one point it was 9 seconds. So I texted Lauren. I'm like, holy bleep, bro! Like, and I screenshotted the scoring, and I'm like, look at this. And Lauren's answer goes, wow, he's got a 9 minute lead. I'm like, well, no, that's seconds, but it's still pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I thought at first I just glanced at it and I was out. I don't know. I was out on the lake or something. I just glanced at it and I'm like, holy shit. Um, but
9 minute
anyway,
lead in a 20-minute moto. That's impressive.
yeah,
That might be sandbagging. That
it
might be
didn't even
That's sandbagging.
didn't even click. Totally my bad. But no, the point I was making was okay. Yeah, you went out there and really stomped the yard, man. But you were doing. I mean, you were doing 20-minute motos 3 days a week in 100-degree heat and 90% humidity getting
Yeah,
ready. So anybody that,
preparation is the key to results. I've took me a
yeah,
long time to realize that, but and when I work really hard, I seem to get really lucky. I love that saying too.
I
So
like that one.
I've always been a good starter. Great time to plug those Maxxis tires right now.
Mhm.
Tamer whole shot device. I actually use the front and rear device and just get that bike set down like a dragster. Uh, I was told that that might not be the best way to do it in the mud, but I was so used to my bike sitting there. And I also had one of those like scoop, basically a paddle tire, they call them for the mud, which,
Right.
um, the irony in that is you do it for the start, but you don't know if the tractor is going to come out and dist or grade the start right before. And the starting box, and then about 10 feet past the gate is like grease. So really that freaking paddle tire is probably a negative. Then it hooks up beyond it.
Right.
So I was freaking out, because I definitely, in my vision of this race, or my plan was to get the whole shot and tuck out exactly what I did. And it did go to plan. But I swear to God, I thought I was up against the ropes with that setup that I had. And, Loretta's, you have to pull a number for the gate, your first moto. And I've been notorious to get like 40th gate pick just to give me an extra challenge. But I pulled like 24, and I knew I could work with that as long as I had a decent gate to grab out there. But yeah, I mean, it's just a preparation thing, and I'd be lying if I said I was in the best shape that I could have been. Life kind of got in the way a little bit and chose some family times over this and that. I probably could have applied myself better here and there. The new KTM's have a lot different chassis, and I just switched over this summer and realized what a stiff chassis feels like when you ride it. So I kind of needed to get, like they said, over 10 hours on my bikes before I did the suspension, and it was hard just to make the time to get 10 hours on my bikes.
Wow.
My backup bike only has, I think, 4 hours on it right now.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think I got up to 12, and I finally set the sag and did my suspension the week of going to Loretta's. So that was not really a great strategy. Well, did not go to plan. Mike Tyson says everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Right.
About punched myself in the face there. But yeah, it all worked out. So
Yeah, well, the loose program worked because there's I don't know if those are from Loretta's. I can't read, but I see a couple of number one plates and some pretty I also happen to I believe I see some X Games gold medals hanging back there too
no, those
in the
are X
background.
Games ones are over down the way.
Ah,
Got a
okay.
cool little case, but this is mostly stuff. My area and regional, like I said, my little dude just set this up. I didn't
Yeah.
shape up anything here for the shot. It was just sitting there. I'm like, I'll post up in front of this. But the ones over here are from last year's qualifiers
Okay.
in Florida. But I actually went to Pala this year out in California. My girlfriend lives in Temecula, and I have a bike out there. And because of my stomach situation, all the area qualifiers here in Florida were like in February, and I wasn't going to be ready yet. So I had to do the ones out west.
Nice.
So I won those. I'm missing the whole hardware from that. It's in my lady's garage. So you got a number one plate that they give you after the final moto, 3 whole shot awards, which if you got any kids and need a discount on Stasics, I think I got $300 off of Stasics right there. My kids are all grown out. Bad Boy Trophy, and these are all for each moto win. They give you a gold medal, which is pretty rad.
That's sick.
Yeah. So picture this, Lauren. Like people dream like me of Loretta's, and so Ronnie goes up there, and each moto this year gets a medal, a whole shot award each time. So they give it to the same guy, which is great for the producer team.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the weekend gets this badass trophy. Oh, and the number one plate. So like he cleaned out all the hardware and went, thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm just here for the hardware and
I'm a greedy son of a bitch sometimes.
But you
all
know,
the hardware.
To your point though, I mean, you worked your ass off to get there, and people can say whatever they want, but you put in the work, and I know, having recovered from some pretty serious surgeries, that I know what it takes to even get back to fighting weight after a surgery and get your energy back and whatever. So, in my opinion, people can eat shit if they're talking smack. You put the work in, you did. The whole thing is, if you don't put the work in and somebody hands you the result, it's, okay, whatever. But you put the work in, and on top of it, you had to earn the result with not even arguably 40 of the best riders in your age class in the nation. So they can say what they want.
Appreciate it. One of another phrase I got for you that I live by is it's all about how you set yourself up. Yep. And I knew what class I was getting into. I knew my potential. I knew where I stood, like I'm not naive. I know there's always somebody. It's how Loretta's is. Usually, maybe I was that guy. I got lucky and I was that guy, but somebody comes up there bringing the heat that you don't expect. I'm guessing that people expected me to do it just because of my background with freestyle and name and everything. And the fact that if people have been paying attention these years, like we all pay attention. You see who won the other area callers. I'd be lying if I said I just showed up and didn't know who was going to be there. Like I came prepared as I can, knowing, you got to know your enemy. It's like, I knew that I had a good shot. I set myself up well to do that. And plus 40 would have been a different story. Like my dad was, I was telling him, I was like, I could have did plus 40 as well. It would have been a great freaking challenge to try to podium that thing at least, you know. I mean, I straight up say if Mike Brown's there, I I doubt that I'll ever be Mike Brown level. That son of a bitch is going to be 70 years old and still whipping people's ass on a motorcycle. Like that's just real talk. Um, so I don't like showing up somewhere knowing that you're fighting for second. It just doesn't sit well with me. But when the time comes and my only option is to race plus 50 if I want to go for a win and Mike Brown's going to be there, that might be time to reassess the plan and saddle up and actually go for it. Right now I joke about it, but I knew plus 40 was going to be a good plus 45 was going to be a good fit for me and a good chance and good opportunity. So that's what I went with, and that I put all my eggs in that basket.
So Lauren probably doesn't even realize this, but Ronnie raced a 350 as opposed to a 450 and still pulled 3 whole shots. So Ronnie, talking about strategy and planning, how did you decide to do the 350?
Well, I think it was 2 years ago when I started this whole Loretta's campaign. I had a 350 back in 2016 or so, just a play bike, and I was more focused on free ride and freestyle, but I would ride that at the track and I really liked it. And the bike has evolved a bit. They've gotten a lot more bottom end out of it, where it's a little more vet friendly. It used to feel like a super modded 250F, so you had to really spool it up and really ride it aggressive, which I liked, but it's hard to do that for 15, 20 minutes. So I kind of would gravitate towards the 450. And then in like 21, I tried the new 350, really liked it. I realized since I moved back here to Florida in 2018, I've been racing quite a bit. And second motos, if it was a rough track, I don't think I would ever get over like 5,000 RPMs on a 450 besides maybe off the start. Like the thing would just beat the piss out of me. I'm 150 pounds soaking wet. And you get a rough track, dude, and that thing, it's not even, it's fun, but it could be funner.
Right.
I like having the confidence off the start. So to get to your point, Cole, like I think I've counted it in my head 22 times now that I've rode 350s, 22 races, and I've whole shot 21.
So pretty confident in that
I've whole
platform.
shot 21, including Loretta's. Since I've used those tamer devices, and really the only time I've lost the whole shot was either I digress. I raced Dade City Raceway at a local race, and I got beat 3 out of 4 on a very short shifting start, but I had no whole shot devices on my bike and no paddle tire, and as a sandy track. So take my numbers down. We'll say 21 out of 25 whole shots, or 22 out of 26, I think now.
It's pretty good odds still.
Yeah. So the confidence is there, especially when I got my whole shot devices set up and everything. And the only reason I didn't get the whole shots at the races when I had the devices was I just short shifted in some like tilled up dirt, like I would on a 450. It was almost like I almost got too confident, didn't even plan, and I just came out the gate as soon as I got my feet on the peg, shifted to third, and the stuff was so disked up and wet that it bogged a little bit. No big deal. Live and learn with that. So, like I said, every time I start, I feel like I'm on a drag bike on that thing, and honestly, it's a stock bike. Has a Yoshimura pipe and silencer on it, or muffler, exhaust, whatever we call them these days. I'm old school, 2-stroker, pipe and silencer. Right. Stock gearing, nothing motor performance, and the thing just goes out like a bat out of hell. I don't know if you saw the third moto, but I did do a good gate pick. I watched how they were freaking dozing, trying to scrape the mud off, and I was watching on the live stream from my camper and saw quite a few hole shots come from the inside, which normally you get pinched off there on a perfect day. But the dozer, when I watch his patterns, and being that I operate as well, I kind of know where the tracks go and it packs it down more and whatever. He did like an extra pass to clean up his track marks, which showed me that it was going to be a little more compact there. So it's funny enough, I came out of the gate and I got so much wheel spin with that freaking paddle on there, and like the way the acoustics work, I thought for sure I was getting swallowed up and I'm trying to like focus on like finding the traction and make sure I don't hit the mounds on the inside. I thought I was just going to get buried by the pack. And I looked back on the freaking live cast and I had about a 3 bike length hole shot. It was a trip.
Yeah, you're the only one to come through that second corner with a clean front plate. It was like, oh shit, go Ronnie.
You want me to piss? You want me to piss some riders off if they see this? I
Absolutely.
pulled one tear off all week, and I didn't even have to. That's from practice all the way through the final race. And I
That's
think
badass.
I lapped up to 23rd or 22nd. I got a couple of the motos. I don't know what the last moto lapper count was, but quite a few lappers just kind of had control of the race where I could choose where I put my bike, not get buried by anybody, didn't freak out. Yeah. Cool deal. I'm happy with how it went for sure.
Yeah, I can't let you go without saying this part. It was awesome that when you're on the last straight on the second moto, you were right behind a lapper and you were waving to him like, hey, do you want to do another lap? And the poor guy's probably like, no, flagman, kill me now. But you gave the guy the option to be like, hey, before I cross the line, do you want one more Loretta's lap? Guy's
I was talking to the guy in the corner. I'm like, hey, you want your lap back? He's like, hell no. His tongue was in the backfire. He's like, hell no, man.
Yeah, that was so funny, man.
And then I watched the live stream and he's like, looks like, and they actually called it right.
Yep.
I have friends going, were you yelling at that guy for cutting you off or something? I'm like, no, I just asked him if he wanted his lap back. I could get away with it. I don't think moving forward, I will never have a Loretta's go that smooth or easy. There's no way. Like, just life doesn't work like that.
Well, and I know you say life doesn't work that way, but after everything you've been through the last 3 years, like, I feel like you deserve it, So
Thanks. Yeah. Definitely made up for some lost time. They say third time's the charm. So I don't know about 86, 94, 95, 96, 98, 2000. Maybe it was more like 10th time's the charm, but yeah, it's cool. It's nice to have that right there. Your name's etched in stone with it all. It's a pretty big deal. The hall or whatever they freaking call
forever
it.
in the vault now. Yep.
Vault. There we go.
The vault.
And, my little brother Ricky's got a couple titles, so couldn't let him get all the glory,
Yeah, no, that's crazy, dude. And the story leading up to it, I mean, everything, not just like this year, but like Cole said, the last 3 years, it's
Sharon Stone for you there.
ooh. The YouTube podcast watchers will love it. This eventually it takes us usually 6 months or so to get it up on the YouTube podcast, but my daughter's finishing film school and she does all our video production. So dad and Cole take second place to her education currently. So
there you go. That's all good. I mean, I tell you guys, like, no agenda with me other than just bullshit with you guys and catch up. And if we get some traction out of it with sponsors and this and that, all good. If not, I had a freaking good time talking with you. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And I'd love to we touched a little bit on like where it began for you with the dirt bikes, but I would love to get you back on, cover that. And man, I don't want to tear up your night, but we definitely got to get you back on and cover all, I mean, the historic stuff, the world record step ups. Dude, there's, I mean,
It's been a wild
you.
career, man. It's been a really wild career. I never, this Loretta's stuff. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Lauren. Like,
No, that's fine.
It's just a testament to life and how freaking crazy life is. Not to get too deep down the rabbit hole with it all, but man, pulling into Loretta Lynn's and knowing that I pulled in there in 1986 and it feels exactly the freaking same as when I was 9 years old. It obviously makes you realize and I'm 46 now. It makes the time like, where the hell did it go? And then I think back to all the things I've been able to do because of a dirt bike, and all the people you want to give credit for helping. Of course, my dad, my mom, I'd need a whole podcast to thank the people that have supported me and made it all possible throughout the years. But to meet folks like yourselves via side by sides and off road, like, that's wild, man. It's wild how it all comes together. And everything has a damn story to it, you know.
Yeah.
It's such a dynamic world with off road dirt bikes. We have a freaking good time no matter what we're doing. You know what I mean? It's great to be able to share it. It's great to, I don't know. I don't want to call it bragging, you know what I mean, at all, because I'm not a bragger, but I'm definitely proud of what I've accomplished and blessed and like thankful and grateful for it all. Like it's more of sharing the gratitude and the stoke.
Yep.
And you know, let's say ultimately inspire people to keep charging and look at the bright side of life, you know what I mean? Like, because like you said, changing freaking bearings on the side of the road, been there, done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not every factory. I was a factory KTM rider, Red Bull athlete, and to be honest, people used to think I made. Look at the damn internet; it says I'm worth like $7 million or something like that. I ain't worth $7 million. I'm not worth $1 million. I mean, you can maybe sell everything I have at top dollar MSRP, and I might have $1 million worth of shit. But like, I'm freaking working, man, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I've been in freaking State Line, Las Vegas, doing. When you mentioned the bearings thing, that visual popped in my head. That's where I learned to do freaking tighten the nut on the freaking deal to salvage a little more time.
Yeah.
You know, flat tires in Phoenix, Arizona. I love that story. Actually, going to one of my first freestyle contests, and I'll make it short. But you know, I just moved from Florida, and everybody always bitched about how hot it was in California, which it was never that hot. Maybe like 1 week it gets in the 110s or something like that, but it'd be like 85 and people, oh my God, it's so hot. And I'm like, this is freaking nice. I'm not trying to be a tough guy, but and then I'm going to Tucson for a freestyle contest, and I'm in my old cargo van, and I felt desert hot at that point. I think it, like whatever exit it is out there, it was 118 or something. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll consider this hot. You know what I mean? So I pull into Phoenix, sun's down, have a freaking blowout in my van, and I'm like, wow, shit, at least it's nighttime. That didn't even matter. It was still like
No.
a 10 outside. I'm out there changing a tire, just dying. Freaking, yeah. It's cool though. I mean, to get sponsored by Polaris back in the day and be able to transition into side by sides for a while and learn that craft, doing the Lucas races, gravitating, you know, never lost my way with dirt bikes. I won't say which sponsor it was, but one of my bigger sponsors, once upon a time, I said, hey man, 2015 to be exact. I said, this is when I had the Razor deal. And, you know, they were all about me free riding and stuff like that. Like that old Razor team was freaking awesome back in the day, man. They made awesome stuff happen.
I remember that free ride car.
Yeah. I told it don't really matter. It was Red Bull because it's not like they did anything bad. I was like, man, I'd really like to make a transition, you know, but I know with whatever you do, you got to be all in. I can't just freaking half-ass everything. Like I'd like to go racing side by sides or Lucas stuff, and I think I could be pretty good at it. Need the support. Obviously, would love to bring you guys along. Like, oh, talk to us about 4-wheel when you're done with 2-wheel. And I was like, I will never be done with 2-wheel. So you know, as long as I'm invited to the X Games and I feel like I can still win it with Step Up, I'm going to be there. So it kind of was a reality check. But then you get to the real rule of off-road racing and, you know, how to become a millionaire at off-road racing, right?
Yeah, start with 10 million.
Yeah. You got the number right. Some people say 2. That's old school. We're in Bidenomics now, baby. You need about 20 million, and yeah, let's not go there.
That's back when I was building you know, the circle track cars. That used to be the joke all the time was how do you make $1 million on Northwest Tour? And you start with 10 million. It's like, yeah, Yeah, we ran 5 different cars or 6 different cars at times. And dude, which by the way, I love the fact that you're racing circle track too.
Yeah, that's why you might be disappointed because I've barely dabbled it just because I got the speedway down the house. I have a pro truck, but it's really not used for circle track racing. I went and tested a couple days, and I learned really quick that if I'm not fully dedicated to that and living in my garage with a bunch of buddies,
Yep.
um, I'm not. I'm going to be in the back of the pack of that at the local race. So that truck turned into a burnout truck for the Cletus McFarlane uh, Cletus and Cars events.
So I was going to say, at least you're still doing Freedom 500s and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Yeah.
true. I mean, you just never know when. I don't know if I've done my last one or more to come. So I can't call myself some career racer, but that's why I love being a motocross guy. We've been notorious for being able to cross over and
Yeah.
do things fairly well. I mean, I used to always get accused by buddies that if we were go-karting, I was good just because I was scrawny. And I started believing that a little bit, but I always felt like I had a little talent with it. And I know we went to Andy Bell got us to Miller Motorsports back in the day for challenge car races in these Mustangs. And it was Pastrana, Chad Reed, who had done V8 supercars,
Yep.
Bell, who had done quite a bit of practicing, and then we had Fuzzy Hall, Mike Mason. We had some like random freestyle guys. It was like an action sports race, celebrity thing or whatever. And I was not to dog on those guys too bad, but I adapted pretty well where Pastrana we'll say won it for sure. He would pull about a second a lap on Reed, and Reed would pull about half a second on me. And then Andy Bell would argue this, but I was a little bit better than him. He had to pit maneuver me at one point. No. Me and Andy were pretty close. Andy is a pretty talented dude, man. He's been one of the bigger helps in my whole career, to be honest, like with Nitro Circus stuff back in the day and OGO. Now he's doing his own thing with TV production stuff. So we don't talk as much, but it's funny back in those days that were so influential to me, and like we didn't have the platforms to give the thanks on the air. You had the podium, you had motorcycle magazines and motocross videos that were straight to the point edits. You know what I mean? It was really hard to thank the people that really helped you. So pretty awesome to be able to do that on platforms like this.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you touched a little bit on it. And when we get you back for the next Rendawg segment, whatever we're going to call that. By the way, this is episode 50. So you are our episode 50, and I'm really glad it worked out that way.
Because of my age. Yeah.
No,
coincidence 100%, but I'm glad it worked out that way because since we started, 50 has like been a goal. That's,
Congratulations.
Yeah, just over a year. So somehow we managed to pull it off. But anyways,
who's had to put up with who 50 times? You putting up with Cole or Cole putting up with Lauren?
I don't know. I complain a lot, so I'll give it to Lauren.
You're both troopers. That's for sure. You only had to put up with me once. And I'm not 50, I'm 46. So I just almost threw myself under the old man bus.
Yeah, I was going to say, not at all. No,
Grim Reaper's chasing me around, though.
I think Cole has to put up with me. I think that's, this whole thing was kind of my idea. And I had a lot of people going, man, you have so many stories. And it got me, you should do a podcast. And I'm like, I have, and I've been blessed to work with so many talented people and not talented people in the industries, in all the industries, from, as a kid in road racing to, today working with American flat track racers and new up and coming arena cross guys and, now enduro cross and stuff like that. And all you freestyle guys and moto guys like yourself that can do everything. You can drive a go-kart, you can drive an SR1, you can drive a Razor, you can drive a CF Moto, you can drive you can wheelie the shit out of your new adventure bike, which is is that a 750?
790. They call it an 800. Ibex
Yeah.
800. Yeah. I don't know if I wheelie the shit out of it. Sometimes I look like shit. I look like a monkey trying to hump a football, trying to get that big thing up. If I don't have the timing right.
If the front wheel's off the ground, we're counting it.
Oh, perfect. Some of them go really good, and I surprise myself. I'm not even ready for it. I'm like, oh, I'm doing it.
Those are always the best ones, though, because it's just like 100%. You're like, oh, wow. You know,
Dude, I'm the epitome of speed wheelies, though. I don't have stoner skills because I was never a stoner.
Mhm.
So mine get up to like 90 miles per hour pretty quick. I can't find the next gear quick enough on a wheelie, but I'll ride that bitch at 100 miles per hour. It's a little sketchy when the wheel locks up and you're like, oh, I'm nervous to set this down.
Yeah, we used to have, back when I was young, dumb, and full of cum. We used to have competitions like that where we would race down the on ramp and see who could get the front end up in the air the quickest and who could go the furthest down the Trans Canada Highway on the back tire. And I I did not win that often. Um, and I did win a big one time on a friend of mine's bike, but I blew the fork seals out setting it down. And so nobody ever loaned me a bike after that. But they're like, ride your own bike. I'm like, well, I don't want to break it.
Too bad though, because back in the day, you didn't even get a participation trophy or nothing, man.
Oh no,
So sad.
there was no internet. There was no GoPros. There was nobody
Yeah, that's
going.
probably why you never got no tickets for it.
Well, that's true
Now you'd
too.
be like Wilkie and freaking have to go to jail for bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. But yeah, no, we want to definitely get you back. I know it's getting late
Yeah.
out your way. Um, we want to get you back because we want to definitely cover your switch, your brand switch to CF Moto. That was huge news across the industry, and it looks like it's been a really good move for you. And
Yeah.
and I'm one of those guys that I'm like, well, the adventure bike must be pretty decent if Renner's got his name on it and he can wheelie it. It can't be that it can't be that bad, right? It's got to be a pretty good piece of equipment. So,
I,
um,
I normally wouldn't be one to air out details of a deal or anything like that, which I will not talk about too much of the details.
sure.
But I've since January, basically I have 10 of their vehicles between here
Wow.
and California. All right, and that goes from motorcycles, side by sides. I put it in my contract I don't do quads. Um, but from the Z Force, which is their performance side by side. It's just
Yep.
110 horsepower. It's not a rocket, nothing. We're not comparing it to Pro Rs here. Like it's their entry level side by side, comes with a lot of cool bells and whistles for a good price. Um, the U Force, which is the like farm
Right.
workhorse. Um, they have the Gen 2 Z Force, which I have, which is more of a trail machine. We go down the line. We got the Ibex. We were just talking about the adventure bike. Just
Yep.
picked up. I got one for the East Coast and West Coast. Like I'm going hard for these guys. Now that I got
Good.
this Loretta's thing out of my system, like I'm all in with the CF Moto thing. I got all the tools and toys. And what I'm getting to is, yes, I just picked up my last two yesterday, so I don't have a lot of time on them. I'd actually, right before I got off the phone, I went and got my fix on their 450 SS, which is a little mini crotch rocket. Had a freaking blast ride in it, and they've reinvigorated my love for motorcycles, and
Awesome.
that's coming from a guy that was with KTM for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I love riding dirt bikes, but there was only so much time in the days with my timing in life to focus on X Games and free ride and a little bit of track stuff. And KTM's more of a racing dedicated company where
Yep.
they probably didn't care who I was going to sell a Duke to or anything like that. I mean, they care, but they weren't going to make me a part of their ad campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All I'm getting to is I've got 10 vehicles and I've never ordered one part. I've never broken one thing. And
Wow.
There
what are
you
we
go.
on? Month 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
And if
Not even a
if,
belt. Knock on wood. I'm knock on wood.
I
But
was gonna,
not even a belt. I've ordered parts to have on backup, but I've never had to order a broken part. I haven't broken anything.
Never
yet.
needed a part. Yeah.
That either means
wow.
I'm driving like a pansy, or they might just have some pretty tough stuff.
Yeah. I would say if you guys, if all you listeners knew Ronnie like Cole and I do, there would be two things. One, he's not driving like a pansy. Two, it's a pretty tough piece of equipment if he hasn't. I'm astounded you haven't broke anything.
I've sent in my Z Force, which is like 100 horsepower.
Yeah.
I've sent every jump at my house that I've done in my Pro R
Wow.
that I had.
That's badass.
Yeah.
That is
except for
sick.
one. I have one that I never jumped it in my Pro R even, but my big double that's my freestyle landing, I actually had a razor that was built by SDR with gnarly HCR freaking arms and Fox suspension that like will gobble up anything. And I jumped that like 75 feet, like a full moto ramp kicker. And that's my goal. That's my target with things coming out down the way. Like I got to be careful with my wording here, but
Yep.
like any company, they have good plans and they're evolving. And when I went up there and see what they have going on, I was like, "Yep, happy to sign on."
That's awesome.
We'll be hucking the big dogs.
Sick.
Just not tomorrow.
Yeah, but right now, my love for motorcycles is so invigorated. Like I don't know, it's like riding a bike or driving a car. I can hop in a freaking off-road vehicle and those skills don't leave you too much. Might be a little rusty, but feel confident. I'm actually little side topic from talking about Loretta Lynn's, but I don't know if you've seen the race car that Lucas Olson built for them. Naturally aspirated, bad little ripper. At Heydays, I'm supposed to take ownership of that. So I'll
Awesome.
actually have a little race car.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that, but that's the deal. And it's more for the little events that we put on around here, like inside speedways and stuff like that.
Sure.
So which my RS1 worked great for those things with no turbo or anything.
Yeah.
So thinking this car is going to be real light, real nimble.
Awesome. That's exciting, dude. I'm really happy for you. And I think, it's rad to see like the progression from another brand.
Yeah, I was nervous about that. I was like a lifer. I go into any brand hoping to be a lifer. You know what I mean? I don't jump around and this and that, but corporate's corporate. I've watched, pretty much the biggest brand. I can not name brands if I want, but all the ones that I've been with when they weren't very big and they were pretty lax and chill are now very corporate.
Yes.
So to see what CF Moto was about, even though it's a global company, it's based out of China. There's a stigma that comes with that got overridden as soon as I seen what they have going here in America. Legit parts warehouse. Obviously, tough equipment. I drove stuff. I looked at it, analyzed it, did a little research. It's a global company without the stuffy corporate vibe. Real tight knit, low key. Independent. The U.S. division of CF Moto is like super independent. So yeah, I was really psyched that they're down to like believe in me and just in the loose program and know that I'm gonna hustle. That's always a thing that you don't want to have to sell yourself to brands. I don't really do resumes or pitches or portfolios or anything these days. So I started talking to them. We just roundtabled a lot of stuff and they learned about me and what I'm into. And I'm 8 months in now and pleasantly surprised is an understatement. Like I'm really, really psyched to be with them.
That's cool. By the way, the next time you're like within 50 miles of my house, I realized you were doing photo shoot and stuff, but
I don't know where you live anymore. You're always in a hotel or traveling.
Yeah.
You live somewhere?
Yeah, I live in Lake Havasu now.
Oh my God.
in Arizona. So I get what you were talking about the Arizona heat, because that was quite an adaptation for me to go outside. It's dark. I go outside and it's still 101 degrees. You're like, oh, wow, it's still hot.
You can jump in the water there, I guess. Hopefully you got good access to that.
Yeah, I do for sure. For
You
sure.
still
But
fighting
yeah,
that Orange County grind, Cole, or what?
Still in the, I haven't left. Born and raised. I'm not moving. I'm gonna hang on here till the bitter end.
You slap Kusky around day to day?
When I see him now, he's a guy that travels all the time, and I work from home, so I never see the dude.
Well, make sure to slap him upside the head for me when you see him.
All right, this hand will be for me. This hand will be for you.
All right, perfect.
he's actually up in Oregon at Doomfest right now. So
Of course he is.
they push the with all the stuff he's doing with the American Sand Association now. Doomfest pushed a week further back. Otherwise, I'd have been there last week. But it's yeah, Pacific Northwest is overblowing with motorsports events this week. So you got to make your choices and be smart, like you said. So
Well, I love seeing that with the UTV side by side industry, man. It's like it's at a point where like you have to choose your battles. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to go to everything. Like, no, there's stuff all over the country.
yeah,
And that is kind of part of my 5-year plan. And hopefully that sticks like with CF Moto, to frequent all of these or as many as I can. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm bummed that I haven't been able to go to any of those Dune Fests or, Camp Razor was always the one thing that I kind of had to do.
yeah.
A real arm twister, right? To go, had to go to the desert with your friends. But now that I live in Florida, obviously it's a matter of choosing battles.
Sure. Yeah, it's road tripping wherever you're going.
And you know about my Subaru project, right? It's been like 5 years in the making.
Hmm.
Almost done.
Nice.
I'm confident enough to say that it's almost done. And like, I don't think it's going to make it to Sancho, but definitely for some fall driving for sure.
Perfect.
Are you going to be out at Sancho?
Not at the moment. If that thing was going to be ready, I was going to, or if CF Moto ends up doing a setup, we haven't really talked. They haven't called me about it, so that's probably the only two. Or Maxis, maybe. I would just probably go if it was sponsor related, because the reality is if I go there as an individual, there's way too many toys there that
Yeah, it's
my
dangerous.
wallet. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I had one sand rail my whole life, and always wanted a buckshot or Funko or something to the next level, and those things tempt me too much. And now that my girlfriend, I thought I got rid of all that out of my system, and now my girlfriend lives in Temecula, so
Right back in it.
as we call it, the gateway to fun.
Yeah.
I got to be careful what toys I see.
That's
The
funny.
Subaru project should be I don't know. It was called the Subaru Razor, but I got to change the name of that.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, if you do end up out there, look us up. Cole will be wandering around. I'll be at the kicker booth. So we're trying to put some plans together to do something special there, but we'll see what happens. So
Well, I'll be out west in October for sure. I don't have the route exactly dialed in. It might just be more of a Utah thing, but I'll have my ambulance, which now has that fresh Furman wrap on it.
yep.
Dragging as many toys as I can out there.
Nice.
Perfect.
Sancho's September, right? So
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming up.
Middle of September. So
yeah, so October I'll be out with a gang load of toys. So try to pin you guys down or connect. I don't think it'll be for the Halloween weekend stuff. Maybe before that if I make it to SoCal, but regardless,
nice.
unless the Grim Reaper catches me, you'll be seeing it.
Well, you're too fast for
Nice.
that. That's what all those number
Yeah.
one plates are about. So
Kick it
Yep,
right.
for sure.
you can run from the Reaper.
Wouldn't be the first time I kick the Reaper in the nuts.
We need that. Keep
Balls
doing
all
it.
the time.
Keep doing it. Hey, hold on a sec. Somebody just knocked on my door. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
He didn't order a lot lizard, did he?
No.
So, Ronnie, here's the plan. I'm gonna let you hit all your sponsors, and then I'm gonna hit you with a super easy yes or no Loretta's question, and then we'll let you go to bed.
And all my sponsors, you'll be here all night for sure. But I got to start with CF Moto, Furman Power Equipment, Northern Tool and Equipment. We got GoPro, Maxxis, FXR. We got God, so many that I never would want to leave out. I mean, we're going to go dirt bikes. We're going to go side by side.
I mean, just whoever's on the brain, I guess. Since it's a Loretta style episode, whoever helped you get there.
Yeah, true that. Well, I will say Northern Tool and Equipment actually stepped up the biggest to make sure I got there. So double extra props to them. And it's just cool to bring a big company like that in the mix. CF Moto has been the biggest attribute to my 23 season. So got to give them tons of respect. Maxxis tires, obviously big. GoPro, I don't know if you guys know it, but I was the original first ever signed GoPro athlete, and they're still hanging in there with me, which is sick, even if the freaking AMA chopped you from using them in competition, which is lame.
I did not know that. I didn't know you were their first athlete ever.
Yeah, pretty wild. Yeah, it's 2008 before my quarter pipe thing.
Wow.
But got Alpine Star, 60 helmets, Mobius knee braces, Matrix with bike stands and everything, Enjoy graphics, active ride suspension, Vortex sprockets, which I used to work there in 1998. Nice little backstory with that. Fastway with pegs, Yoshimura pipe, ODI, GT bicycles, Risk Racing, Moto Sandbox, go training there. Let's give old Dave a shout. Fullerton Sand Tire, because every once in a while I throw a paddle tire on that bike. But yeah, I surely missed somebody, and I'm sorry for that. But do got a lot of sponsors and Thrill Seekers, San Diego company, one of the coolest companies out there with their wild seat covers and cool products. So yeah, nice little ensemble.
It just shows you how many people believe in you and care about your program,
Go fast, don't die. Sending me some cool hats and shirts every once in a while. Awesome words to live by. That company's rad. Heat Wave, sometimes when you get in motocross mode and you're thinking the sponsors that like physically help that bike go faster, or their products on a bike, you get kind of stuck in that zone. So
yeah,
a lot of things make the world go round, and very fortunate for that. Even Kicker, I don't have a contract or nothing with, but the ambulance I drive still has Kicker speakers that are 10 years old on it that haven't skipped a beat. So it's like that's like a family company. I know right now, not just because of you, Lauren, if I needed something from those guys, it would for sure happen. They're rad and everything. So
yep, for sure. It's and it's funny because we were talking about that with we had Lewis on episode, I don't know, 45, 44, Lewis Alston, and we were talking about the oh shoot, what was it? Paragon, I think. Was it Paragon or White Knuckle? In Brimstone when you were there, and Kenny was there, and man, I had so much fun hanging out with you guys, and and we had that. I was able to get that picture of like you, Kenny, me, and who else was there? Do you remember, Cole? Do you remember who I said?
No, the names were endless. A lot of good guys.
Yeah. But we were all Kicker guys, and that ended up making their social media. So it was pretty rad.
I believe they call that OGs.
There's a lot. Well, you guys are all OGs.
Kenny Bartram is definitely the OG Kicker dude. That guy was rocking the logo back in like 2000 or something like that.
Yeah. He's so much fun. He's such a cool dude too.
I mean, it probably has a correlation there that he lives in Stillwater. And Stillwater. So, yeah, I help. Just saying.
Yeah, when when they brought back a mini Big Air Bash and did it, close the street right out in front of headquarters there in Stillwater in, I think it was 18. I went out there to help get things set up and whatnot. And Kenny, Kenny did a rip through the museum on his bike, like in a wheelie. And it was like, I said, "Hey, be careful. The floor's really slick." He goes, "Yeah, I know. I know I'm going to fall down in front of the camera. I'm going to look like an ass," but he pulled it off. So
I did a demo at the Oklahoma State, whatever college that is right there. Yeah, Ricky Fowler was there. Freaking kicker did it right, man. Like they had us
yep.
freaking go out and do like I don't know, it's not the first pitch. What's it called in football? The game, hand out the game ball or whatever the hell you do. Rode out there on our dirt bikes on the field.
Oh, sweet.
Pretty epic. Did a
Nice.
demo in the parking lot. Pretty cool little town, actually. Like,
It is
I can see why people like it there.
still really grassroots for sure.
It was
So
damn tornadoes, Midwest.
yeah,
No thanks.
yeah, no thanks. So
Oh,
uh,
did I get off track there? I did the sponsors. You said
No,
you're
you're fine. Hey, loose program, as you say. But I was
trying
just
to
going to
pull your run a show here. Sorry.
No, I was just going to
No.
tell Lauren while he was getting his takeout or whatever that I was going to end Ronnie on one last yes or no question. And you can add details if you want, but I got to ask this Loretta's question. Did the world famous Loretta Lynn's beer tent get to see the world famous Ronnie Renner dance moves?
Not this time. That's how serious I was about this freaking race. Stayed
That's
away
what I
from
like to
the
hear.
tent. Yeah.
Imp-
yeah. I'm getting
impressive.
sure. Yeah. But
Oh man.
my favorite was, I supposed to just bail after that? You said last
No,
question.
you're fine. Loose program.
No. The funniest joke I heard, and it's really something that's probably true, a lot of truth to it. It's like, I was like, we might, my girlfriend is her first time coming to Loretta Lynn. She's heard all the legends of the place, and neither one of us are big on partying, but I was like, maybe we'll run by the beer tent. I'll show you what that's all about. Whatever night I had off from racing, I can't remember. That doesn't mean that I'm going to go down there and get trashed or anything. Like, I have it in me to go down there and not even have a drink, maybe just one, whatever. But I'm definitely not going to go down there and get worked and freaking try to race the next day. And it must have been a Tuesday or Monday. I don't remember. My buddy's like, "Don't waste your time going down there now. Freaking races haven't started. You need to go down there Wednesday after the mini dads start coming down when they're all pissed off that their kids sucked." Because by Friday, that's when it turns into a real shit show, because the moms and dads are fighting. They're both down there. There's people are cheating. It's like, and that's where the action's at. I'm like, yeah, great point. But no,
That's awesome.
The Loretta's beer tent has seen Renner's dance moves, just not in 2023.
That's how serious you took it. I like it.
But
I
Renner
like
still
it.
does have the dance moves. You know what I'm
Good.
saying? All
The
right.
talent doesn't leave.
Dude, this has been so good. I miss catching up with you, man. I really appreciate the time you're taking, families around there and everything. Man, thank you so much. I know it's been a challenge between schedules and everything trying to get on here, but I am really grateful. We're just, little tiny hopefully fun podcast. And for someone, of your status in motorsports culture to jump on and just hang out for a while, I am gonna end it. Oh, you get a final parting comments, by the way, but I gotta tell a story because I met you actually through Dave, and I might have met you through Super Mario actually. But
All about the same timing. Yeah.
yeah, I have watched like all the free ride tour stuff and just, wow, that's so cool. And then actually getting to meet you, and you never know what you're going to expect when you meet what I who I consider a celebrity, right? I've met some that are super rad like you, and I've met some that are like less than rad.
We
And
call that a douchebag.
yeah, that's why, I've been quoted so many times saying, the whole thing about the entire off-road industry is just don't be a douchebag,
Yeah.
right? Be a good person, live your life, be a good person. Uh, we have a quote at the in the intro of the show from Evil Knievel about fly flying through the air, living in the sunlight, and enjoying life. And it's like I always say people should take a little more of that. But
Well, I can tell you, Lauren. I mean, and I'll let you carry on here, but the reality is what I've learned, and with whatever position I've ended up in, if it's status or freaking popularity, whatever. Um, I always feel like I'm expected to kind of be a twat or a douche or arrogant or something like that, and it's always such a bummer. So I find myself sometimes really making sure on a first impression I'm not fake, but you almost have to do feel like you have to sell yourself and like talk. That's maybe why I talk so much, because you feel like people are gonna think that you're already up against the ropes a little bit, on it's not a reputation at this point. I think it's just what maybe an action sports reputation or uh freestyle. I don't know what it is, but I kind of know where you're going with it.
yeah, but you're like a genuine guy, and even if you talk too much, which I don't think you talk that much, it's like that's who you are, right?
Yeah.
And what you see is what you get. And so, anyways, for the listeners, we were up at UTV Invasion in Idaho, and I had the Striking Viking with me, and she was for like the first day and a half. She's like, I can't believe that's Ronnie Renner. I can't believe he's here. I can't believe you were talking to him. I can't believe and total fangirl. And finally, she's like, will you ask him if I can take a picture? And I'm going, oh my God, please don't make me do this. Like, I felt like such a twat. Hey, my chick wants to take a picture with you. Is that cool? And of course, you're like, yeah, that's fine, man. It's totally rad. And that's when he really got to meet the Viking, and the Viking got to meet you, which she loves you to this day, dude. But so they're standing there beside each other, and I'm getting ready to take the picture, and Renner's like, change your angle so I don't look so short. And I actually have a picture. One of the pictures I took, you're standing on your tiptoes, and I have it on my rolling screensaver in my office at home. And every time I see that, it just cracks me up. It's just great memories, because she's height gifted. So, I just thought it was hilarious, but it's also a testament to like how normal you are,
Hey,
if
buddy,
you will.
I'm not as dumb as I look. The Striking Viking, I was just being nice so that she didn't whip my ass.
Well, I'm glad you did, because she might have whooped my ass if you were nice to
I was
her.
saving us all an ass whipping
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
right. So, with that, man, Ronnie, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Appreciate it. Any parting comments, parting statements?
Oh man, and you keep mentioning taking my time. I love this stuff, man. This is we're about as close to family as you can be in these industries, and
Yep.
I know the vibe and miss the vibe when we're all hanging out and mixing it up out in the des and everything or at events. So all good with me, pretty much divorced. My kids are at mom's during the weekdays, so I'm running girlfriends in Temecula right now. So I'm soloing it here. Me and the old boxer over here, and she won't talk, when she's hungry, make some noise and scratch on some things. But no, it's all good, man. I love shooting the shit and sharing my story with everybody and hearing what you guys are up to. So that's life. That's what it's all about.
Awesome. Yeah,
Appreciate you having
man.
me.
We're so thankful. Cole?
Thanks as
What do you
always,
got?
Ronnie. And this won't be the last time you'll be on. So we'll rope you back.
Yes,
Awesome.
for sure.
You'll have to call my manager, Ronald Renner Esquire, again, and he'll line everything up.
Got it. I
Our people will
will.
call your people.
Right
Right
on,
on,
bud.
guys.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks,
Thank
Ronnie.
you all. Take care.
Man, what a great episode. There's going to be 5 more Ronnie Renner episodes, I'm sure. He's done so much with so many different genres of
Hmm.
motorsports, and he's so freaking talented and he's so humble.
Yeah, and he's straight up about stuff. And like, what's so funny about Ronnie? I think this is the first guest that I've even thought like this, but like, I've had so many good memories with Ronnie, even myself, that
Yeah.
like my good memories, he probably doesn't even remember because that's just his life. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, I will almost guarantee you he'd remember because
Like,
that's who he is.
like I know we got to wrap, but I mean, I'll never forget one story. I had Connor Cabot in the back of his sandrail, and I'm riding shotgun with Ronnie, and we went around, and we were out there for at least an hour. And poor Connor's just getting absolutely trashed and blasted in the back seat with sand because I mean it was just a full open car. We get out of the car at the top of Oldsmobile. Ronnie turns around, and goes, "Oh shit, I forgot you were back there." Connor's like, "It's fine, everything's fine."
Ah,
Not to bring that up with Ronnie. Like, I no way he remembers that story, but dude, that's something I'll never forget the rest of my life.
oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Oh man, yeah, we are so blessed to have good friends and genuine people. He is 100% genuine, 100% committed to trying to be a good example, um, and doing a great job with his family and his career. Um, can't wait to get him back on for another segment
Yep.
just to cover some of the stuff that we just barely chipped the iceberg on in this episode. So, but with that, we are pushing up on time and we must say goodbye, but not before we thank our incredible partners. Of course, all our new graphics, our new Instagram page, watch our social media. Number one, thank you, fans, for the incredible growth that we've seen and just continued growth. We're so grateful. The downloads every week keep going up, and I am so thankful for that. But talking about our social media and our growth and helping us track that and growing our social media, you can find us now on Instagram, the at symbol AFTR, like along for the ride underscore podcast. That's AFTR underscore podcast. And that is many, many thanks to a very incredibly talented young lady at Hey Keeks Marketing. That's HEYKEEKS Marketing. Yes, she is my daughter, but she's way smarter than me and just best of the best at what she does. If you need help with any social media stuff, influencer campaigns, websites built, social media management, anything to do with anything, just yell, Hey Keeks. Find her, heykeeks.com. We're on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. Of course, where would I be without my dude Cole and the Premix Podcast? Find them on Instagram at ThePremixPodcast and look up the incredible talent behind the lens. Not only is he talented on the mic and available for your MC booking or announcer booking, but he also is very talented behind the lens getting your desert racing fixes to you. So
Just not at
look
the
him
same
up.
time.
Yeah. Well, you probably could actually. That'd be
No,
really rad.
it'd be
I don't know
weird.
why you couldn't. Yeah. Should try it.
2024, we'll give it a go.
There you go. Yeah, maybe. Well, let's keep that under our hats. So, and We have some of the most harebrained schemes ever, folks. Just stay tuned. We've got some ideas. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film, doing all our video production and getting all our incredible partners tagged during the videos, getting everything up on our YouTube channel, which is MAddOG, MAddOG Media, and on our YouTube podcast channel, which you will find attached to that MAddOG Media. Of course, Kicker Performance Audio, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio. Where would I be without them, man? They help provide some of these great adventures that I have on the road. We didn't even get to the road trip. And I'm pretty sure we're probably going to throw together an after show because Cole is rad to do with the flat track race I'm at right now. But look them up, kicker.com. Of course, Bomber Eyewear at bombereyewear.com and Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. All your sunglasses needs, even prescription glasses, safety glasses, anti-glare glasses, blue light glasses, dark smoke, reflective mirrored 4 or 5 different colors and probably 100 styles. Tommy and the gang has worked really hard to get the most durable and coolest looking glasses out there for you at a very reasonable price. Go check them out, bombereyewear.com, or on Instagram at bombereyewear. And of course, do the speech.
Make sure to rate, review, subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Thank you, folks, so much for listening, and thank you for the growth. MAddOG out.